Like, come on, bro, I don't want no cheese. Just that for dessert. Like, if you want to have wine and cheese on the pregame, I want some ice cream or some cake. They bring some cheese.
Now, is your sister a drinker? Because, wine is huge over there.
Oh, man, that's what she's over there.
That's
like
why she's there?
She's like a wine educator. She gives wine tours. I accompany her on one of her wine tours. She talks about the regions, Burgundy region, where the grapes are grown, the soil. What do you smell? Do you smell bark? Do you smell? She deep in the game.
I got a friend of mine too. I wouldn't mind one day. We need to have that on. We need to have that on the show for a little bit.
A little wine tasting.
A little wine, wine segment. Yeah, because so many athletes now are into the wine.
Right.
So I want to, just kind of look at Dwayne Wade's got his own wine. Yeah. LeBron James, Kevin Durant. These guys are like heavy on the wines.
I hope she don't hear this episode because she was here about a month or so ago and proposed to come in.
And you turned it down?
I just was like,
you have a co-host that's I'm a little bit more seasoned in those things. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I've dated a little bit more than my life.
See, but I thought you was like Tito's or something like that, though.
No, but see, you've been married. This is some of the things that I talked to you about when we was talking about the relationship. You've been married. Right. You off the grid, man.
Right.
You've been off the grid for a while.
But I didn't know that was your area. To me, that's kind of upscale. The wine. No.
So what you trying to say?
Right.
You trying to say I'm a trashy drinker?
Whoa.
First of all, that's not. You going too far. You going too far.
When I do decide to have a beverage,
okay,
I'm having top shelf.
Okay.
Whether that's whiskey, vodka, whatever. See, like my man Horace, the first time me and him went out a cocktail, he drink top shelf.
Okay.
I like that. That spoke volumes about him. You know what I mean?
Okay.
See, I go out with you. You offer me some Tito's. It's a problem.
Oh, for real?
Not saying Tito's is a bad vodka.
But you just like to...
I'm top shelf.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's top shelf vodka, though? Clue me in.
Well, see, that's just the thing. Should we have this discussion where you understand? I mean, Tito's is something that's probably going to be more standard.
Okay.
That you can find most places. But, we look for Grey Goose. We look for maybe Ciroc, Blue Dot.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We look for Kettle One.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. She's down with like bourbon and wine. She like wine and spirits. So she go all in and she tries to get people to branch out of their norms. Cause she had some friends in town. They like sweet wine. They like Moscato. She's like, man, you know how many more other wines it is?
Right.
Then she's like, I need you to expand your horizon off some old Moscato type stuff. So
without question.
But they wasn't really feeling that. They wanted some sweet wine. But I went with.
Did you try any wines?
I went on a wine tour where she had people, and you know what I mean? She give them some bottles, and she asked them what they like, and she tried to match up what they like with some different things that they may not have had. So I did that. I partook, you know what I mean? Since she won't let me go on a tour and hang with her without tasting and sampling. Like, she almost feel offended, if I don't at least try it. She know I'm not a big drinker, but she at least want me to try it. So that's my sister, that's my family. I had to show you like on the IG because she posted on IG a picture with her drinking. I was there, etc. I posted the tourist pic. She posted drinking pics. That's how she posts all day.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm proud of you, man. You had a good time.
Man.
You tried a few things.
Yeah.
So you had a successful trip.
No doubt about it. I would go back too, man.
We held it down here, man. I called in a favor.
Right.
Got Kenny McReynolds, a Chicago legend.
Right.
Just won the Hall of Fame last year, the Chicago Hall of Fame for broadcasting. So it was good to have him. And we had another guy, Jabba, come in and talk about Saint Sabina and Father Flager and all the things that they're doing over there to change the community. So we held it down, man. We had some nice arguments, man.
Oh, for real? Y'all got into some debates?
Some nice debates. I still wasn't the same. Me, going back and forth with you. Those guys kind of, they kind of bow down.
Is that right? They're just a little bit more reserved. I don't know if you want to use that kind of terminology.
But no, it was good though. So it's good you had a good time, man. Everybody can't just go take off and fly to Paris, man.
Man, it was a beautiful thing, man. It was a beautiful thing. I wouldn't want to live there though, bro. I'm just not cut out to live in a foreign country.
In a foreign country,
nah,
yeah. I'm not an overseas guy either, so
nah.
I'm right there with you when it comes to that.
Well, let's get to the hardwood. A lot of storylines, a lot of things taking place. One situation that's been going on for, several days to at least a week that seems to constantly be changing, and that is the Jimmy Butler situation in Minnesota. According to the reports, Butler refuses to suit up for Minnesota. he has demanded a trade. Tom Thibodeau has had meetings with him trying to get Butler to reconsider, play things out. He's telling them he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, so trade me or I'm going to walk. I've seen some reports, Antoine, that it's been some real rifts between Butler and Karl Anthony Towns, and Towns didn't even want to sign an extension until he knew what was going on with Butler. Certainly when you look at some of the teams that have been interested, the Clippers have been in the mix, the Brooklyn Nets have been in the mix. Also, we've heard Miami was in the mix, but most recently I heard that the price has been real steep, Antoine, and some people are really starting to wonder how serious Minnesota is in terms of making a deal. So one team, Philly, is out of the situation, but they want like cap relief. They want like a high-level player. They're asking a whole lot. Well, at the end of the day, your thoughts?
Well, I got so many thoughts about this, so let me just start there. Let's start off with Jimmy Butler itself. I think there's so many things to this topic. That irritated me. One, I don't understand Jimmy Butler and these guys that are playing the league now, the competitiveness of these guys. Like, you on a team right now that has two other guys. Karl Anthony Townsend and Andrew Wiggins. When healthy, Minnesota was the third seed in the West.
Okay.
So Jimmy Butler and them, they were a very good team when he was healthy. He was the perfect mix to what they had. Obviously, he gets hurt last year. He comes back at the end. They squeak in the playoffs. But my thing with Jimmy Butler is that you are a B-list star. You're not an A-list star. You are a B-list star. You've tore up a young Chicago Bulls locker room. We have real examples of that. When you think about 2 years ago, with him and Dwayne Wade were in the locker room, and they get into it with the young guys about their effort.
Right.
You hear the reports from people that's on the team how he didn't dress in the locker room with the guys. He went in his own little special room and dressed by himself. How he wasn't the leader on the team. So you start with that, so you get that bad verbiage. He's been hurt. He's been injury prone over the last couple of years. And then you come out and you demand a trade. And that's the thing. I don't mind. Okay, just say, I lived in Minnesota. And if it's living conditions and you don't want to be in Minnesota, it's some of the worst winters you want to go through.
Okay.
I am Minnesota. The basketball part, I can't see you not wanting to be there because you want a good team. They got pieces there. You playing for your old coach. He has several ex-teammates of yours who you had success with on the team. So all the basketball parts seem the right way. You're going to get the money. They offer you an extension for $100 million. If you choose to play it out, I'm pretty sure they would have maxed them out the following next summer. So all those things play a part. So I'm looking at this. Then you pick the Brooklyn Nets, the Clippers, and the Knicks. So you want to go from competing to being a good playoff team that can make a legitimate run to back at the bottom of the cellar. I don't really know if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, the Knicks, or the Clippers. I want them a part of my team. Man, you want to come to? Why would you want to come to us? So now I'm basically looking at Jimmy Butler. If I'm a GM, I'm looking at, does he want to play basketball or does he want to kick it? Does he want all the other stuff that come along with it? You want to go to LA, to do movies, to mix and mingle. You want to go to New York to do the same thing, to mix and mingle. Nobody want to go to the Brooklyn Nets. Come on. Let's be realistic.
It's Brooklyn, though. It's Brooklyn.
I don't stand nobody going to Brooklyn Nets, man.
That's a top
Jimmy Butler's 30 years old.
Okay.
He ain't no spring chicken. You know what I'm saying? This is your prime of your career. This is the best part of your career. You're going to get the money regardless. So we can't even talk about contracts. We talk about just playing basketball. You don't want to just go play basketball for a winning team. And why are you getting into it with these young guys when you should be embracing them, putting them on your shoulder? You know what I mean? What's going on? You gotta figure it out. Get into it with the first set of young guys. Now you get into it with the second set. Minnesota, they forced Minnesota's hands, and they showed you where their loyalty lie at and who they're rolling with. They give Karl Anthony Towns 2 days after he announced he wants to get traded, they give him $190 million. So it lets you know what side they pick right away. Now the other part of this, I think for Minnesota is trying to make up for the Bulls trade. I don't know if you I think that's why they got the price ticket so high. I think they're trying to make sure.
Like they feel like maybe they lost that trade.
Right. If you really look at the trade, I don't have it in front of me, but they lost. If Jimmy Butler leaves and they don't get anything of value back.
Right, because they gave up Chris Dunn, Zach.
Right. You gave up one of the better two-way players in this league, who was a B-list All-Star, for nothing. So you want to make sure that you get something for him, and I think that's what Tibbs is trying to do, and that's the hard part about being a coach and a GM. That's where the hard part comes in there. So now you got a huge distraction. So if I'm Minnesota, I mean, based on the team that they have, I would want a guy who can play. Obviously, you don't want just the pick. I mean, Jimmy Butler's too good of a player. You're taking, 20, 25 points out your lineup. So you got to figure out a way. Don't get me wrong, they signed Luol Deng, but he ain't played in 2 years. So you don't know what you're going to get out of Luol Deng. So you want a player back, and I would want a young player back. And I also would want to pick. I'm not saying I got to have, an A-list All-Star, but I would want a player close to that.
Something comparable.
You know what I mean? So I look at certain teams. I look at the Clippers, and you look at their roster. Are they going to give up a Tobias Harris? You know what I mean? A guy who turned down big money to someone who's seeking a max deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I look at Brooklyn. They don't have much on the roster. You're going to take a marginal guy at best at the wing. Who you going to take? DeMarre Carroll, Joe Harris with Brooklyn. We already know with the Knicks. The Knicks, they just drafted Kevin Knox. You're not going to give him up. Tim Hardaway Jr., you get him. Move Wiggins to the 3. Something like that. I'm looking at these situations. It's kind of tough out there for Minnesota. Now, the one that does make sense and that has some talent, what I like their talent a little bit better, is the Miami Heat.
Yeah, you give up like a Justice Winslow.
Yeah, they've got some talent.
A Josh Richardson.
And they got young talent.
Yeah, I hear those names.
If they make a move like that, but I just don't understand certain guys. And obviously they got to do what's best for their future. 9 times out of 10, we argued about this, and before that, Kawhi Leonard, you thought he was going to get traded to the Lakers. The whole world was like, they got to do it. He going to the Lakers, the Spurs just waiting. No, these teams, when you ask for certain teams, 9 times out of 10, they make sure you don't go to those teams.
Right. Because we the one that hold the cards. Although you trying
Paul
to
George, we saw it with Paul George.
Yep.
We saw it with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
I don't see it being I can see him going east, so that may save him because he's got a couple East Coast teams. So I can see him going east, but these teams don't want to see they play it 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And it's not rocket science. Let's just start with Paul George. Indiana Pacers, no, we're not going to see him in the East. We're going to send him west. So we don't have to see him 2 times. Kawhi Leonard, no, we're not going to send him in the West. We're going to send him to the East. We see him 2 times.
So you think Minnesota send him back to the East?
Yeah, I think Minnesota.
So Brooklyn or Miami?
Yeah.
Either that or basketball hell.
I think.
Yeah, Sacramento has been a team that I don't know if you've heard that.
But they've got some pieces.
They do. They got plenty of players.
They got pieces. They got a log jam of talent.
If you Jimmy Butler and you end up in Sacramento, man, golly, you got to be upset, bro.
The thing about this is not football. And he makes $20 million coming up. You got to play. It's like Kawhi Leonard. He has a proper approach going into. I listened to his press conference his first day. He had the right approach. Hey, look, I'm coming here with an open mind. It may work, it may not, but I'm going to come here with an open mind. Same thing that happened with Paul George. When you get to these places, these teams are going to embrace you. You never know what the situation may hold. But, I just think with Jimmy Butler, the jury's out. You got to start to question his reasons for wanting to play basketball, on being a leader. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get traded. But that Minnesota situation just seemed too good to want to leave it.
Why you say you question his reasons for wanting to play basketball?
Because the spots that he picked, it's a difference if you pick a situation. It's a difference. Kawhi Leonard said he wanted to be in L.A. Obviously, LeBron James is with the Lakers. Obviously, he did kind of say that before that the rumors was he wanted to get to L.A. But if you really thought about it, the Spurs were in a rebuilding stage. The Spurs were rebuilding. They were going to lose Duncan. They already lost Duncan. They already lost Ginobili. Tony Parker, LaMarcus Aldridge is a stretch has been an all-star at a very, very high level, even though he played good. But he was coming off a bad playoff run. He redeemed himself this year very much. So I can see Kawhi's situation a little bit better and wanting to get loose a little bit. But Jimmy Butler, you already you on a team that's on the upcline, that's on the rise. You on a team that's got 2 other young stars on it. So the pieces are in play. And then you get Rumble. How are you beefing with them? I mean,
obviously we weren't there, but it seems like Jimmy Butler is a hard-nosed guy. He's an aggressive guy, and he wants somebody that's committed on both ends of the court. So from the outside, you know, Wiggins certainly has a perception. Wiggins has a perception that he don't play tough, and Karl Anthony Towns got a perception like that too. So if y'all dudes don't want to play no defense, we can't go where I'm trying to go because I know what it takes.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna be a little different. I'm gonna go the other way with this. Let's go the other way. First of all, what has Jimmy Butler won in his life?
A playoff series.
Okay, a playoff series too. Last year they played the Houston Rockets. What was he offensively? What was he at?
He was still trying to come back from injury.
Okay,
I don't think he was 100%
okay, then,
healthy.
so let's think about this. When I was healthy, when we had things rolling, we were the 3rd best team in the Western Conference. I was hurt. You got to put that on yourself.
Okay.
Okay, and it happens. Injuries are part of the game. So if he's hurt and we were the 3rd best team, I want to start off fresh with these guys.
See what we can do.
See what we can do.
With a clean
we
slate.
right there.
Yeah.
You know, but instead, your thought process, you spent the summer saying, I want to go to New York, Brooklyn, or L.A., the Clippers. You don't want to go to the Lakers. You say you don't want to play with LeBron. Wow. How you don't want to play with the best player in the world? But okay, that's a whole nother conversation. So if I'm a GM, you got to think about that, though. You got to put that in perspective if I'm a GM. And if I got to give him $190 million, I think, what's his max next year? Will be $190 million.
That sounds about right.
Right, so if I got to wonder, can I trust this guy in the locker room as being a leader on my team? Can I trust him? That's what I got to worry about. I can't wait till he speak and justify why he wanted to get traded. It's going to be interesting to see why he wanted to get traded. But that's what I'm saying. You got to question it. I don't know. And then the other part to it, too, you say hard working. Jimmy Butler, to me, and this is why I'm going to give him his credit. I've never seen a guy come to the league that couldn't score the basketball and career blossom as much as he did. You got to give him all the respect of the work ethic that he put in to make him the player he is today. He's one of the better two-way players we got in the league. I'm not going to deny that. But your attitude is everything. It's all up. When you want to be a max player and a leader, it's a lot of responsibility come with that. And that's about getting the other young guys to play. You know what LeBron James is going to spend all training camp, what he's probably been doing for the last 2 months, is getting those guys mentally prepared to play in the playoffs, to make a championship run, the sacrifice it's going to take, the hard work it's going to take to get to that next level. That's what he's spending his time doing, getting camaraderie with the team. I guarantee you, LeBron James, they'll have all their handshakes. You know LeBron coming through.
Oh, you know that. You know that.
They already made those up.
Oh, you know LeBron going to get the handshakes going. He's going to get the team together. That's what a leader does. And Jimmy Butler has been in a couple spots where he's having rumblings with the young guys. That bothers me.
I feel like he bought into the hype a little bit too much.
What
Once
hype?
he started, like, basically after D-Rose got hurt and Jimmy was the man on the team, air quotes, he started, you could notice a change in his play, his demeanor on the court, and now with the Minnesota run and what he's been getting into with the young guys over there, do you feel like he overestimates his talent a little bit? Like you said, he's a B-lister, and I feel like, this is just my personal opinion, I think he thinks that he's one of those marquee guys, like the buck stops here, and he's never really proven to be that guy by himself.
Well, I think, definitely that. I mean, obviously, when you demand a trade, you feel like, I mean, it ain't a lot of guys that can go to the front office and say, I want to get traded. Right. And its value is pretty high. I mean, it's not like, you know.
But are you starting your franchise with Jimmy Butler?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I am. I got to get to the bottom of it.
I think he a good number 2, though. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't start my franchise with him, but I think we could do some things if we got a legit number 1. Certainly, we saw a Wade and Butler where that got you, but that wasn't, tip-top Wade. You know what I mean? That was a Wade past his prime. But I think he could be a number 2 guy, and you can go deep, you can go far with it like that. But, I mean, last year, I think he was all NBA, like maybe 3rd team, though. So let's not act like, he's still, B-list or not, he top 15. I think we could say top 15, B-list or not.
That's here and there. I mean, I'll question that. I can give you 15 other guys that are better than him that I take before him. But my thing is see, you're still. I'm not defending the basketball part of it.
Right.
I'm arguing the motive, what's behind it. Because purely basketball, you in a good spot.
For sure.
It's in basketball, it's a good spot. You're not on the island by yourself. You got 2 young talented guys. You can't question their work at the defense because when y'all was playing, y'all were the 3rd best team in the West. So y'all was doing something right. They don't have to warm up like you do. They don't have to come back at night if you do. Whatever Jimmy Butler does that turned him off about them, that's different. Everybody's different. The Boston Celtics didn't draft me. The coach never told me, we need you to be a great defensive player. In my prime, they said, I need you to put that ball in the hole. Everybody got roles. Jimmy Butler, you're a good 2-way player. We need you to guard the best player on the floor. That's your job. That's period. And that's not, everybody has a role. So you can't tell me that. And then even if you go at the young guys, you and Dwayne Wade, and at that time, Dwayne Wade wasn't even practicing. No, you got to lead by example. So you got to understand why it's a problem. Why are you always getting into it with these young guys? That's my problem with him. And then the teams he picked don't like. That's a difference. He was like, man, okay, I need to go play with LeBron James and get to the Lakers.
Okay.
We could do something. That's a different conversation.
It would have made more sense if he said he wanted to go to New Orleans.
I looked at the Clippers roster. I mean, I don't see championship team. I mean, they got some pieces. I mean, but I don't see championship team. We know where the Knicks stand. We know where Brooklyn stand.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it. I mean, Miami, Pat Riley will continue to try to build. I can see him want to go to Miami, and I know the relationship, him and D-Wade. And I'm pretty sure D-Wade is like, come on down. But, you get shipped to Sacramento, you just play a year there, you come out, and then you're going to, I mean, I don't know.
You feel strongly, though, that he's going to get traded. Like, you think it's only a matter of time, right? He forced their hand.
I think he did. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But I think his relationship with Tibbs, I think Tibbs want to be fair with him. I think it's holding weight right now. And obviously you can't have a guy that's you're trying to trade get hurt.
Okay.
Because he can easily tweak his ankle or get hurt.
And he said he don't even want to practice, though. It ain't even like, you know what I mean?
Well, he don't want to be there. He don't want to be there. They granted that permission. And
is that crazy to you? Like, he wasn't even at media day. Like, we just going to go ahead and let you stay away because you're that unhappy. Is that unusual? You think that's out of the order?
It's very unusual. I think Minnesota should be a little upset that he would make this decision a week before training camp. Where I'm pretty sure in July, when they offered an extension, obviously he probably should have told them, listen, I'm not going to sign back. You guys should probably trade me. Where it was a lot of deals and scenarios out there.
And now I did hear some reports that he did put that out there that he was unhappy. I heard, I guess, after they lost to Houston, instead of flying back with the team, he immediately flew to Los Angeles. I don't know if you heard that part. And then, like, the final medical...
He didn't do his exit meeting.
Right, so you heard that too. Yes. So I think, there were some signs that he was unhappy. He didn't demand at that point...
Well, I think Tibbs probably, to the defense, it's just like me and you got a relationship, Clement. I'm a believer that I can talk you out of it.
Right.
So I believe Tibbs probably is like, let him blow off the steam. Right. Let him think about it.
Give him an off season.
Yeah, and they should have. But that's that double hat I'm talking about. When I say, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. I think certain coaches have earned that respect, and they've gotten. See, all the coaches that have gotten those deals are coaches that have gotten a bad deal the year before. I mean, the team before. Tibbs with the Chicago Bulls, and we all here in Chicago, we know how that situation went. Well, up top, him and John Paxson, those guys had beef. So Tibbs' whole thing was like, man, I don't never want to go through this again with management. So he was a hot commodity. Right. He did what he's supposed to do. He negotiated where he runs both. Right. Stan Van Gundy. Yep. I was in Miami with Stan. Okay. Bad deal for Pat Riley. We 20 games to the season. Pat Riley comes, takes over the team. We win a championship. So it's the same thing, and Stan did the same thing in Detroit. Look, Stan didn't know how to do it. You thought maybe when he got Blake Griffin, he made a masterful move there, but it's tough wearing both hats. You got to, you can't do both because your feelings and emotions get into it. It's like Doc Rivers. We saw him cry. He had to trade his son. Yep. I mean, how do you trade your son? I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's a tough thing to do, to trade my son. But he was able to pay his son too. Yeah. But still, he had to trade his son. And I mean, to me, I felt like those were real tears.
Right.
I mean, that was the real deal.
Son.
Yeah, it's his son. How you tell your wife? How you going to tell your wife we got to move him?
Thanksgiving kind of awkward.
What do you think this does in terms of Tibbs' future in Minnesota?
I think Tibbs is fine. I think they went to playoffs. I think.
Say missed the playoffs. So now that would be 3 years, and they missed the playoffs in 2 of them. If they missed the playoffs.
He made the playoffs. Last year was his first year.
No.
Last year was Tibbs' first year.
No, because he had 1 year without Jimmy Butler. Like, you know what I mean? He got Jimmy.
They went like 500, right?
Yeah, they was bad. I'm looking at it right now. First year they went 31-51. They were terrible that first year, and then the second year 47-35. So this is his third year. He had 1 year without Jimmy. Him and Jimmy.
Right. Well, he's got. So my thing, if I'm Glenn, let me tell you what I'm going to do, and because of this situation, and because I believe he has a good enough relationship, or he needs to know what's going on with the team with Jimmy Butler, I would demote his. I would tell him, listen, we're gonna get a real GM in here. But I will also tell Tibbs, I want you to help me in search of the GM because I want you guys to work hand in hand.
Somebody you can work with.
So I would do that in that sense. I wouldn't just go hire a GM and say, okay, Tibbs, your title's gone. He's the new GM. What I would tell Tibbs is, look, let's go on a search. Let's get a GM. Let's give him these duties. Somebody you can work with. That's what I would do if I was Glenn Taylor, the owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. That I wouldn't make any other moves but that. But the Jimmy thing, right now, you're trying to get in the camp. You got to play. Right now, I know you don't want to take a bad deal, Clement, but I think eventually you got to get this done before the weekend. I mean, I want to get to practice. We have to start preseason games. I want to start to get the team continuity. I want to get the negative energy going on. They're the topic of discussion every day right now. I'm gonna go ahead and get this deal done. I won't be surprised if a deal done in the next 48 hours.
So even if you get fleeced, as they say, if it's a deal that clearly the other team, gets the better of it, you don't get a player.
If it's a player out there that you can't get that can come in and, I mean, it's tough to replace 20 points. It's probably not gonna get an equal player that averages 20 points a game. But if you can't get a guy that can get you 15, 16 a night, I would take the picks.
Okay.
You know what I mean? At least I'm gonna take the picks where at least I got something. I'm gonna take a first round pick. Maybe 2 seconds. I'm gonna do something of that nature, so I'm gonna get something back.
Because I saw what I was reading. They want a quality vet or a top prospect.
I can believe that.
Future assets, or cap relief. So even if you don't get a pick, maybe you can get one of them bad expiring contracts, something like that. So then, next year you'll have less money on the books, that sort of thing. But I'm with you, though. At the end of the day, it certainly seems like you have to resolve this situation. You want to try to move forward. It's real hard to go into the season with this cloud hanging over the team, and this whole it's just a bad taste. It's a bad chemistry, and
you know what? The teams and not really looking at it. If I'm the Knicks, the Knicks will be the team that should be really trying to get them, because now you bring a superstar there. You got the rumblings of Kyrie Irving supposedly wants to, go to New York. Now you got that in place, and if I'm the Minnesota, I'll take Tim Hardaway Jr.
Oh, really?
Yeah, start him at the 2, move Wiggins to the 3. You got a guy who can score the basketball. He's had big nights in the league where he's got 30, 35.
Oh, he can get hot, no doubt about it.
So now you get a young guy who's already under contract, who's already paid for the next couple years, and you get something else. You take another young piece of them, maybe take a draft pick. I like that, and that's almost, I wouldn't do it straight up, I'd add a piece to it, but that's almost, to me, the best trade scenario. I don't like anything on the Brooklyn Nets roster. Everything on the Brooklyn Nets roster, to me, is very marginal.
You don't like D'Angelo Russell, former number 2 pick, a guy still with some upside? We still might not have seen the best of D'Angelo Russell?
No, I don't know. One thing about Russell, injury prone. He was injured his rookie year, injured a bunch last year.
Jimmy Butler injury prone too, so you know what I mean?
It ain't but of the 2, he's nowhere near talented. He hasn't peaked. I think we talked about Russell so much. because he won, he played in L.A. When you play with the Lakers, it's just different. I mean, it's a different animal. So, Jimmy Butler, your guy, man. I know you still like him.
I wouldn't call him my guy. I do think he's a quality player. I do think he's an impact player, and I think that he's a guy. Man, I was about to say I would like to have him on my team. I like what he brings on the court, though. But as you have already pointed out, you really have to take a look back, or you really have to step back and take a look at why it hasn't worked out in Chicago and why it hasn't worked out in Minnesota. He's the common denominator, and it seems like he's the cause of friction. But certainly on the court, though, in terms of how hard he works and what he brings on a night-in, night-out basis, I like having that on my team. But is it worth the risk of blowing my team up and separating my team? That's something that I think every organization has to evaluate. When that's happening in two different places, now you have to start to take a look at, man, is it really worth maybe upsetting or disrupting what we have in our organization to bring him in? That's a question that every team has to answer for their organization. But I want to stay in the Western Conference, though, and move over to the Lakers. Of course, that's what everybody is talking about. LeBron James preaching patience there in L.A. You know, Lonzo's still not ready to go, coming off the knee surgery. So Rondo is going to be the starter there. What's your take early on from LeBron and what he said at training camp, and who you even think might the Lakers start? Certainly, you know, LeBron, Rondo, and Ingram. Like JaVale McGee is going to be starting on the Lakers, and you know, KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. What's your take on, you know, the Lakers very early?
I mean, obviously, they won 35 games last year, so I look at that. You added LeBron James to your team. I'm going to give them a plus 10 to 12 wins. So I got them at about 47 wins with a LeBron James added to the team. I do not like this team. And I like the pieces they picked up, but I think it's a product that's not finished, a team that's not finished. And the reason why I say that is because I think they passed on the opportunity. One, I think they should have offered DeMarcus Cousins a big deal.
The Lakers.
The Lakers should have, and brought him along, or a mid-sized deal, something that he probably couldn't turn down to play in L.A. Because if you look at this roster and you just start naming off who's going to start, let's really look at this roster right now. LeBron James right now is scheduled to play the power forward position.
Okay.
Which is going to be great for him as he's getting older in his career. He'll get a lot of mismatch opportunities. He'll be able to dominate, you know, most power forwards in the league. But the problem I have with that, I don't know if LeBron James is going to commit defensively to showing in the pick and roll, to rebounding, even though he's a guy that gets you 7, 8, 9, 10 rebounds a game. But those are rebounds because Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love are boxing out and he coming back. Now, when you got to box out and actually get in there and rebound and do the grit work of a power forward, I don't know if LeBron James is going to be willing to do that. Right now, the way their roster is, it's small. Another thing I don't like about their roster, LeBron James has yet to show that he will get off the ball. Maybe he may decide to, but you're playing with Rondo and Alonzo Ball, and both of those guys are point guards that need the ball in their hands to be able to be successful. I don't know how those guys, they're not spot-up shooters. They're not very good shooters. They're not guys that can go in the corner and make, you're talking about 1 out of 6, 1 out of 5. I mean, no, and then they're both typically bad free throw shooters. Rondo's had, some times where he's made them, but Rondo struggled from the free throw line in his career. We also know what Ball does. They don't have a lot of three-point shooting. In this league, to be successful in the NBA, you've got to have three-point shooting. You're talking about Pope and Kuzma. Those guys are very capable. LeBron James is capable of making a three. But LeBron James has always played with knockdown shooters. Let's just go to the history books. I like to do this.
No doubt.
Let's talk about some of the shooters he's played with. Last year, Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith. Then you had Daniel Gibson. You had Damon Jones. You had Mike Miller.
Battier can shoot three.
You had Battier. So those are I just named 6 guys over the years that he's had as just knocked down three-point shooters. James Jones, who's assistant GM, he caught James Jones a little bit left in his tank, being able to shoot the three. So he's played with guys that have had knockdown three-point shooters. So when LeBron James goes to his ISO situation, who's he spacing the floor with? Ingram is a slasher. put on the floor. I mean, he can make a three, but that's not his game. Is LeBron James going to let Ingram work? You know what I'm saying? So I heard LeBron James talking about this team kind of reminds him of the Miami Heat. Yeah, I mean, I can see the athleticism, being able to get out on the break and run. I think the one thing about this team that I do like, if LeBron James is willing to do that, this team won 35 games last year, you know, with Kuzma and Ingram and Ball. So they can win some games for you.
Yeah.
So LeBron doesn't necessarily, I don't think he needs to play all 82. I think they're talking about, I didn't read the complete article about him maybe not playing in preseason.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to play in preseason. But the crazy part about it, for him personally, he don't need to play, but for team chemistry, he needs to play the preseason.
Yeah,
That's the crazy part about it.
But can you get some of that? And I'm always the guy that say you can't simulate in the game, but can you try to build some of that in practice when you got a guy like LeBron?
Well, the thing about it, you got to build lineups and matchups. So the big thing for Luke Walton is he's got to find the best team. While LeBron James sitting out, if he doesn't play a lot, you've got to try different lineups. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you my starting five. You talked about who should be the starting five. If healthy, I'm starting Ball.
Oh wow! I thought you were a Rondo guy.
I am a Rondo guy, but I'm thinking future. Right. See, one thing about this thing, you got to think about where you're going with this and where would you like to go.
Okay.
You're not building. The Lakers are not building like LeBron James said. We're preaching patience. So the expectations in this here is probably just let me get us back to the playoffs. He probably like, if I could do that, I've accomplished that, and if we do anything in the playoffs, it's an added plus.
Icing on the cake.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's how he's probably thinking when he say preaching patience. So I think I'm gonna start Ball at the 1. I'm gonna start Pope at the 2.
Okay.
LeBron.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about Ingram at the 3.
Okay.
LeBron at the 4, and JaVale McGee at the 5. I'm gonna start that 5 lineup. Now I got Kuzma.
Yeah.
And Rondo and Lance Stevenson come off the bench. I like them 3 guys.
What about Michael Beasley?
Beasley can play a little 4.
Okay.
3-4 can score, but you know with that second unit now, I got a real good point guard. Now I got 2 scorers, Beasley, and I got Kuzma.
Yeah.
2 guys that can really fill it up. The problem is they didn't get a backup center. Just need another big.
Yeah, they got the dude. I guess Zubats or something like that. Ivica Zubats, and I think they drafted Mo Wagner, who's like a 6'11" guy. But here's a guy that we don't talk a lot about. When you talk about bench and you talk about shooting, Josh Hart. He played well in the summer league.
He played summer league. Josh Hart gonna be out. The numbers game gonna play that part. They'll be deeper. The one thing about the Lakers, they'll be deep, and the core of their guys, they wasn't terrible last year.
Right.
So I hold value in those 35 wins because the West is very tough.
Okay.
So I don't think those wins are like slouches. Like those wins are real deal wins.
There was a lot of close games sprinkled in there as well.
Yeah, but they were very good at home, very competitive at home, and you added LeBron James, you set the tone. But I do not like the team. I think they could have did a little bit better. I think as much as you don't want to think about that, I still think they need to add a quality big to their team.
Let me say this.
They may have to give. See, this is the thing.
Okay.
With LeBron James, and I got 4 years with him, I'm building with LeBron James. We're going to maximize this effort to see if we can get to the finals, win us a championship. So you got to get some shooting around here. If not, you can clog the lane on LeBron. We know he's improved his shooting, but LeBron James will have to beat me with his jump shot.
But the thing about it is, when you have LeBron on your team, then the other guys get better looks. So I'm looking at Brandon Ingram. He took a step forward last year. Ingram, as I look at it, he shot 39% from deep last year. And so now he should get some better looks with LeBron. Kyle Kuzma is a guy that shot like about 36% from 3 last year. So 37%, he's going to get some better looks. And then KCP can shoot the ball well. And then Josh Hart. So my thing is, guys that might not be great, LeBron should help them improve because they get better looks.
And then let me help you out. Let's take, and you are 100% correct about that, about those guys improving their 3-point shooting. I still like specialists.
Right.
So I'm still like
a Kyle Korver.
Yeah, with Michael Jordan and with great scores with Michael Jordan, he had specialists. Kobe Bryant had specialists. The Derek Fishers, the Rick Fox, the Robert Horrys, guys that can knock down shots. I like those guys with 3-point sessions. But this is also the biggest problem that I have with the team. And it's hard to win championships with young guys. You look at case in point, you look at Kyrie Irving. He's got a chance to play. He just went to 3 straight finals, 25 years old. You playing with the best player in the world. They probably could have went to another 4 or 5, NBA finals and maybe won another title together. But they have different agendas. My biggest thing, this will be LeBron's biggest challenge, to get these young guys to buy into trying to win a championship. In my history of knowing basketball and the way I look at things, but the only young team I've ever seen get to the finals, and they didn't have much success, was OKC. Yeah. Besides that, it's been the teams that have a good mixture of stars and veterans.
But we don't expect the Lakers to get to the finals this year.
Well, the expectations are high. I don't think that's who expect. The Laker fans are championship.
Right, but I mean, you and I, basketball guys, people that watch the game, people that know the game. We did our predictions at one point. I think you had the Lakers.
I got the Lakers at 6 or 7.
Yeah,
I just think it's hard. My thing is, it's just hard to get. But you keep saying, but see, this is the thing. LeBron James is about winning titles. LeBron James is not about the pressure's on him. The microphones in your face every day, you got to ask those questions. It's a different attitude. And I'm gonna tell you something. Once the season starts, he will change.
But but like you said, this team is not constructed to win a championship. It's no possible way these guys can win a title.
But it's still a mental part that you got to get them even thinking about that. Let me tell you something. You know what's going on. We all know the Ball household is crazy. So let's know that. So you already know you got one kid that's probably, he got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because he got to hear it from the outside. Then you got to think about Kuzma. Can I get him to buy in? Ingram. These guys are looking for big contracts. They're looking for their stardom. Championship may not be on their mind right now.
Right.
That's the only thing about it. Now, they might think, oh, man, it's cool. I'm sure they look up to LeBron. It's cool to play with LeBron. You got to think about it. And I always take this back. I was in my 9th year when I went to the Miami Heat. I knew when I went there with the mentality, Antoine, this is the first time. I'm coming off 20-10, 29 years old. I still believe I'm one of the elite forwards in the league. But I say, you know what? This is the perfect time. I've never been a championship contender. I got a chance to go play with Shaq and D-Wade and also get my money.
You ain't feel like in Boston, those times you ran into New Jersey, you ain't feel a championship contender then?
I felt like we always was a piece away.
Okay.
I never played with a true point guard. I never had a point guard.
You always be pooping on Kenny Anderson, man. What's up with that?
No, Kenny, my man. I love Kenny.
My man always say, I never had a great point guard.
I didn't. I mean,
I guess we're not going to get Kenny Anderson on the show.
That's my man. We'll get him on the show. No, but we call Kenny a little bit outside his prime. But we also went to the Eastern Conference Finals with Kenny Anderson too, so I'm not going to take that away. We had a great run. But my thing is this: when I went, the point I'm trying to make, when I went to the Miami Heat, I went with the mentality that it wasn't the Antoine Walker show. My first meeting with Stan Van Gundy was like, hey, listen, I cannot start you. You deserve to start, but I can't run a play for you. Shaq and D-Wade's going to get all the plays ran for them. He said, now, if you come off the bench, I'm going to feature you. That was a commitment I was ready to make. A lot of guys, you look at, and you know I'm telling the truth, because look at Carmelo Anthony. He wasn't willing to sacrifice to do whatever it takes for the team to win. You see Carmelo Anthony like, oh, yeah, I'm coming off the bench. Yeah.
Who, me? Who, me?
But no, I was like, okay, man, this is what it's going to take to win. All right, I'll come off the bench. UD can still start. When Pat Riley came back, you know what he did? He sat me down and said, listen, I need you to start. I'm like, damn, Coach, wait till. No, I need you to start, but I'm going to sub you out 6 minutes into the game, and then I'm going to bring you back with the second unit. Are these young guys going to make those commitments? I've always heard, I never played. I know a lot of people around LeBron. A lot of people say it's hard to play with LeBron. Yeah. So these are the things I'm worried about for the Lakers moving forward. That's it. The basketball part, they'll figure out. They'll be an exciting team. I think they'll be a team that breaks LeBron's. LeBron's a phenomenal athlete. They're going to be young. They'll be athletic. They're going to get out on the break. The basketball part will probably take care of itself. But the mentality, are those guys going to buy in defensively? Even though we know Cleveland didn't have great defensive teams, but when he had to win, who was on that floor in Game 7? Them Game 7s. His veterans.
Right.
Guys that been there before. So all that stuff you got to keep in mind. So right now, I still got the Lakers. Right now, I still got them at 6 to 8. 6 to 8.
We still got time. We kind of did like an off-season, you know,
Oh yeah,
where we gave some rankings.
our prediction show coming now.
Oh yeah,
But we got to say that for right before opening night.
No doubt about it. Let's step aside though and take a quick break though. So many storylines, so much stuff to discuss. On the other side, have to get into your former team, the Boston Celtics.
Yes, sir.
And the Houston Rockets, who certainly, you know, went deep to the Western Conference Finals last year. That and more. Stay with us. Southside Heat coming right back.
Yeah.
Man, we went like 50 minutes on. We only did 2 teams.
Did we? I ain't paying attention.
We just did Minnesota and we did the Lakers. It's already 250.
Man. We ain't got enough topics going.
Huh?
I said, man, it's going to be so many topics for me.
Right.
I was hoping, I ain't gonna lie, I was hoping the trade happened while we was on air today.
Yeah. I mean, we still got an
Yeah, that
hour.
would've been
We
slick.
still got an hour. I've been checking your boy Adrian Wojnarowski. I've been checking him.
Jimmy kind of overrated to me.
Who? Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
I'm done with him, bro.
He kind of overrated to me. I was saying that when D Rose went down, like Jimmy was good, but he still was number 2, bro.
Clement still holding.
He's still the number 2.
He still bring it on the court. Like I said,
No,
all
no,
the
Yeah,
stuff,
but even
all the
on
other
the
stuff
court,
off
he
the
kind of
court.
over. Okay, name me one big moment Jimmy Butler has had. Name me Jimmy Butler's signature moment.
He had some game winners. Jimmy Butler's had some
I
game
didn't
winners in
ask about
Chicago.
that. I'm talking
in
about
Chicago, game winners.
Everybody has a signature moment. D Rose has several. Everybody else got several. What is
To me-
Jimmy Butler's signature moment? The moment where you was like, okay, he has arrived.
I can't remember the game,
the
but
one-
it was a game winner when he hit that at the
What
buzzer.
what made Jimmy Butler good, and I said on that, man, I've been around a lot of pros.
Okay.
And every year you want to get better. Right. That's like the main thing. And I always look at guys' numbers, you know what I'm saying? It's about your numbers going here and staying here.
Right.
And most guys in their career, if you good, you start off with, and then you stay here for a while. Jimmy Butler's always been here. He been climbing.
Right.
That's why I respect him. This dude couldn't even score the basketball when he came in the NBA.
He became
was
somebody.
hard.
He was a defensive
But
specialist.
Chicago people loved him because his story, his testimony.
Right.
Foster family,
Right.
took him in, got drafted 30, wasn't a high pick,
Right.
worked hard, got better and better.
Blue collar type stuff.
Yeah, played 45 minutes a night, tears roll him out. But when you start demanding trades, man, you gotta be, I just don't, see Kawhi Leonard, to me, Kawhi Leonard, I wasn't mad at that. Arguably top 4 or 5 best player in the league. Some people got him 3, some people like him 4. You know what I'm saying? I get that. San Antonio, they not rebuilding, but they are
just not
rebuilding.
right.
You know what I'm saying? No pop them, no kind of, maybe, you know what I'm saying? He was cool with Duncan and Ginobili and all them. That was cool, but it's a new era.
Right.
So he probably like, man, yeah, I can understand a lot of guys do want to go home. I never felt that way. I felt like coming home to play would have been like a mistake. You know, what, ticket request, hanging, friends. You know, I like coming home for 2.5, 3 months.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's better. But some guys like to play at home. You know what I'm saying? Look at Derrick Rose. Do I say that was his demise? No, because he played well. He was the MVP in Chicago.
Right.
Can't get no better than that. You know what I'm saying?
Might be able to say that about
But
somebody like
he
Ed
took
Curry.
off in the summer. LA, tied. Give him a break.
True.
Got a break.
True.
So you think it's Hollywood? You think it's ego? You think
I mean,
I think it's his ego. I really think Jimmy Butler thinks he's like D Rose used to be. And you're not. You're not MVP caliber.
Southside Heat, Clement Townsend, Antoine Walker. Be sure to follow us on social media. C Townsend TV on the gram. C Townsend TV. And Twan Walker 8 on the gram. Twan
man,
Walker
see, that's
8.
why that's why I wasn't a good host, man. That's why you like
Oh, you forgot the handles and
all the
everything like
handles,
that.
man. I didn't bring no handles in last week.
That's all good. You gotta let people know to subscribe
But,
as
you know,
well.
I gave you some love though.
Oh,
You know what I
did
mean,
you?
I started the show, man. Told him, my man had to go to Paris.
Appreciate
Check
it.
it out, man. You know, I gave you some love. I wish I could go to Paris. But I mean, it's
You've
okay.
been to Paris twice, man. Don't go there, bro.
I mean,
You've already traveled the world. You talked about
Wait a
how you were an
minute,
Adidas ambassador, and you got off the plane. They be like, Antoine. You
Now,
went
I've been-
global,
I've
and
been-
you had folks screaming your name.
I have been to Paris twice. I'm not gonna lie about
Okay.
that. I've been to Paris twice.
Right. So, you've been
I told you enjoy yourself. I just told you
Oh,
that.
no,
A lot of
no.
wine.
a lot of wine.
And at that time, I wasn't drinking wine.
Oh, really?
You know, I got a good friend now who's a wine connoisseur who's got me into wine a little bit more. So, actually, for my birthday, he took me through a little, like, 3-part wine class
Right.
meal.
Is that right?
Yeah, so when you pair the wines with the food. So I done had a little experience.
Yeah.
And then Nazi, one of my best friends, just opened a wine bar.
Okay.
So, like, I'm getting into it. I'm trying to switch over a little bit. Now, it's just time to see what type of women are in the wine industry. No, I'm just
Right,
saying.
right,
That
right.
once we see what's in the industry on that side,
Okay, you be good to
yeah.
go.
Because
Okay.
I know a lot of women like wine. You know, you always see like a lot of women like to have them a glass of wine for
No
the
doubt.
other bed,
No doubt.
unwind with a glass of wine. I want
So I can book you for that wine tasting show because my sister, man, she all
Oh
about
yeah,
that. I could book
actually
you for
I
that.
want to learn. I would love to have some wine connoisseurs teach us. I want to know what it is.
Okay, because she's all about too wine and food pairing. She has a thing
Yeah.
where people like fried chicken for real. So what kind of wine can you eat with fried chicken?
and
Barbecue,
listen.
whatever your meal is, you can have. There's a certain wine that can go with that meal. She's about that.
I've been twice for my birthday, and then he took me to a restaurant. I want to get a restaurant some love, but the chef came out
Okay.
and actually walked us through it. It was like $100, and we tasted like 5 wines.
Okay.
And you started with the first wine to like the appetizer wine,
Right.
and it was all paired with the food and telling me to smell the herbs. You know, there was a lot of stuff that
You gotta
Yeah,
shake it up,
yeah, no,
and then that allows the oxygen to get to the wine, and that
Right.
brings out the smell.
So let me tell you this week, and I know we're getting off subject
It's
a little
all
bit,
good.
but I went to a Hennessy, I might not pronounce this right, a Hennessy Lavoie or Lavage. Lavoie, like it's a tour.
Okay.
Oh.
So a friend of mine was hosting, and she got to invite 30 people.
Right.
So to a Hennessy dinner. So they made these drinks. So what we learned is how to make 3 different Hennessy cocktails.
Is that right?
Yeah, and they gave us a whole video presentation. Like I like Hennessy now. Like I know a couple drinks with Hennessy I like.
Okay.
That I can go in there and make me a Hennessy now. I like Hennessy now. That's
Okay.
my new thing.
Back in the day, Pac used to always be talking
that's
about
true.
drinking Hennessy. So
Yeah, but I was excited, man.
like that. Pac had me on Hennessy.
Hennessy.
Straight up.
You know, you don't know what you're going to, you know, I mean, when you go to these things, you don't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And they also had the food was the same too, like the meats, the cheeses,
Right.
and stuff that went with the cognacs too.
Right.
But I was like, man, this is dope.
Okay, I got you, man. I got you. Shout out to Girl Meets Glass. That's my sister on the IG.
Yeah,
Gotta give her a
yeah.
plug.
Yeah.
Girl Meets
At least
Glass.
she can call in. Wait a minute, what's the time difference though? That might
It's
be
like
what's
7
up.
hours. 7 hours. So
Well, she could be sitting on that couch drinking a glass of wine.
I'm sure she probably
And
would.
it could call in.
But she'll probably come to Chicago for the holidays. So that might be a holiday special. She wanted
Okay.
to do it. She was here like about a month ago. She wanted to do it. She's going to be so disappointed. I'm going to have to hear about it. She'll be like, I told you we should have did that show.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring that back. We may have to find out why players. I mean, we're gonna try to find out why the players are switching to the wine. Is it in the diet?
Right.
Like, is it better for you during the season? You know, instead of Tito's.
All right, let's jump back to the hardwood and move over to the Boston Celtics. Certainly, this is a team that has high expectations. I believe they are the favorite to win the Eastern Conference when you add back in 2 All-Stars, Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, along with the guys who just continue to get better, like a Jaylen Brown. We saw what Jason Tatum can do, and then Al Horford. And, I mean, they might have one of the strongest benches in the league now. When you look at a Marcus Morris, Scary Terry Rozier, Smart, Marcus Smart. Who else am I forgetting? Daniel Tice. Like, they might have one of the best benches. But let me say this, though. Last year, at this point, everybody was asking Kyrie about why he wanted to get traded and what he was like playing for LeBron. At Media Day, he said he's happy and he said he's relaxed. But there still will be a lot of questions about his upcoming free agency. Do you think that storyline will still be a distraction and something that hangs over this team? Because I think he says he's happy, but I don't know if everybody really believes that.
You know, arguably, and this is tough for me to say, and you know, but Danny Ainge has done such a terrific job of actually running this team and making sure the Celtics were always in the right position. And the best thing that the Celtics did was brought Terry Rozier back. They did not panic. They brought Marcus Smart back, did not panic, and they're braced and they're ready for whatever Kyrie Irving wants to do. Obviously, he'll be able to make the max with the Celtics, and hopefully, I'm sure they want him to stay, and they'll do whatever it takes for Kyrie Irving to stay in Boston. But if he leaves, they in great shape. Terry Rozier will bump into starting point guard. You will still have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. You still will have Al Horford for one more year, Marcus Smart. So if he's Gordon Hayward for the next 3 years, I mean, let's not forget about him. I think obviously with the injury last year, we forgot about he was the big free agent signing along with Kyrie Irving. I just think Danny Ainge has done a terrific job. I think Kyrie Irving, they're braced for whatever Kyrie Irving wants to do. If he wants to choose to leave, I think they're fine with that. I don't think they will have any problems with him going elsewhere.
You think that'll just like, I won't say hinder the chemistry, but sometimes those storylines.
No, I think Kyrie's smart enough and understands that this team and organization is going to go on without him. He needs to play and put in some work.
Okay.
I think he understands that. I think he knows, and I think that's why he said he's relaxed. I think the biggest thing for Kyrie Irving this year, he needs to show the world at 25 years old that he can stay healthy. You know, I don't necessarily know if 82 games is what they need from him, but what about 77? You know, an injury-free season. What about 77 games and, you know, staying healthy and so you can make a deep playoff run? They are my favorite to come out the East. I love their roster top to bottom. They've got 10 to 11 guys that can play on any given night. So they got a closer. I mean, Kyrie Irving is one of the better closers in this league. So they got everything going. But I don't think it's going to be a distraction. I think it's a training camp thing. I don't think nobody talks about it. I think what's going to end up happening is that towards the end of the year, maybe in the playoffs, just as, you know, media guys do, as we do, you know, ruffle the feathers a little bit. Is this your last game as a Celtic? You know, towards the end of the year, you know how that goes.
Absolutely.
You kind of saw this. You just saw this with in baseball with Bryce Harper.
For sure.
You know, did he play? Is this your last game? And you know, and so you kind of see that. You know, you'll see that with Kyrie Irving late. But I think because of Danny Ainge's moves and the way he's handled this roster that's in place right now, and not making any changes this summer, paying Marcus Smart, staying intact, I think he kind of showed Kyrie, you know, whatever you want to do, obviously we want you to come back.
Right.
But if you choose to move on, we got a young point guard ready to take over this thing too. So I think they'll be fine. I mean, they are my favorites. I don't know where you have the Celtics in the East at, and I know we'll discuss that as shows goes along. But I like the Celtics. I can't find a glitch in them.
Can they handle the pressure though? Because
the expectations are much higher.
Hands down. I mean, where I have them is number one. I mean, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and then certainly, you know, LeBron is no longer there, and they did that without those two key guys. So with no LeBron in the East and those two key guys, I don't see how you couldn't have them as number one. So can they handle the pressure? And this is something we talk about a whole lot, and the players are saying all the right things. You know, the touches aren't going to be there. Like, you know, Jason Tatum, you know, he was used to getting a certain amount of touches and a certain amount of shots. The same thing with Jaylen Brown, and the same thing with like a Marcus Smart. You know, some of those guys, like a Smart or a Rozier, they could be a starter someplace else. But now, you know, you have to take a back seat. And you know better than I do, a lot of times when you are winning, you know, everything is okay. But if you go on a losing streak and some things don't go your way, then how will guys react? They don't have any real weaknesses, but the fact that some people's role is going to be lessened, can the players mature and be okay with that?
It's a great question. I think that's what we will see if Brad Stevens is the coach that we think he is, the praises that we give him. Obviously, I look at Phil Jackson. it's probably arguably the greatest coach ever. Even though he had talent, but to be able to get the guys to buy into a whole group setting, obviously he didn't probably coach this much talent that the Celtics had. But I think it's going to be on Brad Stevenson once getting the balance. I think being very open and honest with guys and their roles, figuring out who is going to play to close games out is going to be very important. That's where the argument comes in at. Guys love to be on the floor late in games, so I think that's going to be huge. I don't think necessarily shot taking. I think all those guys know Kyrie is going to be the guy who's going to get the shot attempts late in games. Because you're going to have a decision to make. Do you go with Gordon Hayward in one of those defensive situations? Do you stay with, when you bring in the Marcus Smart because he's a better defender? So I think, yeah, you're going to have those problems, but that's going to be solely based on Brad Stevenson being very open and honest to this team. And then also your goals change. You talked about it a second ago, Clement. Your goals change. Let's see what those goals are now for the Celtics. It's right the first day of training camp. The first thing I'm writing on the board if I was Brad Stevens is championships. I'm putting championship, sacrifice.
Wow.
Championship, sacrifice. Who's going to be willing to sacrifice the individual glory for us to win the NBA title? That's what's going to be the main thing. Can everybody buy in to win the NBA title? Do you have a sour taste in your mouth that you were without two of your stars and you lost Game 7 to LeBron James? It's no more excuses. And if I'm Brad Stevenson, ain't no more excuses. And I'm not taking anything away from the other teams in the Eastern Conference, because there's a couple teams in the East I really like too. Still like Toronto. I still like the Washington Wizards.
I don't know why.
Washington might surprise you.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I would bring up Philly.
That's my sleeper. But to me, I believe it's on Brad Stevenson to make sure that he instills in them it's about winning the championship. We're a very deep team. I think the luxury that he's going to have, being the Eastern Conference and playing a couple teams, you can actually rest guys. His guys can get rest a little bit. But to me, I like this formula. A lot of guys don't like it. A lot of guys like the rest during the season. I like what the Houston Rockets did last year. Went out, challenged Golden State for the league record. They won 65 games, and even though they did not take advantage of it, they had Game 5 on their floor, and they had Game 7. I think if you're going to beat Golden State, or you have any chance of beating Golden State, I want to play them on the road. I do not want to go and play them in Golden State. So if I'm the Celtics, with the roster that I have in place, maybe we set our goals a little high. Let's see if we can get 65, 66 wins. Maybe that's something that's can motivate us. Let's see if that. Let's do that. We're deep enough. We're young enough. Well, we can put some energy into the season, and let's see if we can win 66 games so we can have home court advantage all the way through. Because I just want to do, Clement, I know you like to look on your computer and get all your history, right? Guess what?
What's that?
Boston lost one home game in the playoffs. Without Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, they lost one home game. Don't nobody tell me home court does not matter.
It matters.
It matters. So if I'm the Celtics, I'm Brad Stevenson, I'm that staff, I might want to say, hey, let's go get us 65, 66 wins. Let's go ahead and win. Let's go ahead and have the best record in the league, and let's make everybody come through Boston.
And then if you get to the NBA Finals,
and you get to the finals,
yeah,
you got home court advantage. That's the one thing. Y'all, listen. I don't know. Chris Paul got hurt, but my prediction was on his way to coming true. And I thought Houston, even though Houston won, they did win one in Golden State. But having Game 5 and 7 on your home floor is so important.
Makes a difference.
And if I'm the Celtics, the Celtics are in that position. They have 10 to 11 guys that can play, where they can put emphasis on the regular season to try to win it. I think last year, what did they win? 57, 58? They won.
Boston?
Boston won 50. They had to win 55, 56.
This is about 55 because, Toronto won 59, and I don't think they were 2 games back. I check it out right here. I think it was about 55 or so. 55 and 27.
So you got to think they won 55. One, you play no games with Gordon Hayward. And then on top, and Kyrie Irving missed what, the last 35?
He missed a ton.
So now I'm not far-fetched to think they can win 65.
Yeah. Even though I think we did a question asking you, do you think they'll win 60, and you weren't too sure that they would win 60 games though.
But when you think about when I break down and I'm looking at teams in the league and I love what Houston did last year as far as the onus on the season. I remember last Clement, you remember on the show, we couldn't believe that Mike D'Antoni was still playing his guys.
Oh, hands down.
That we couldn't believe that James Harden was still playing, but it was for a reason, to ensure home court advantage, in which they did. So I just think the Celtics need to think about that and put that in perspective for them, because they are a championship team. They are my favorite to get out of there. And they're loaded, man. They're loaded for bad. If they don't have any injuries, they're going to be a tough cookie.
You like the Wizards.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, John Wall has been injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
Dwight Howard, I think, is dealing with some back issues, so he's not there at the start of training camp. And I recently saw an article that says Scott Brooks is actually trying to model the Wizards after the Houston Rockets, whereas he wants them to take threes, and more threes. Like, he don't want those guys taking any mid-range jumpers. I was reading an article that Scott Brooks told Bradley Beal he wanted to see Bradley Beal take like 23s in a game. He mid-range jumpers in the offense that Brooks is trying to run are bad shots. He want Otto Porter to take more threes. Even Jan Mahimi has been, practicing his corner threes, that sort of thing. So I still feel like they just don't have enough firepower. Wall and Beal are solid, and you add in a Dwight Howard who can do some things on the defensive glass, but I still feel like they're not a top 4 team in the East. But you're real high on them, so I'll let you speak about what you expect from the Wizards.
I don't mind a coach putting the emphasis on the 3-ball. It's such a big part of the game, and you see Golden State, you see Houston have a lot of success with it. So I don't know if they have the type of shooters where you would want to shoot 43s a game. Bradley Beal obviously is one of the best shooters in the league. But what I like about Washington is that one, and I know Dwight Howard supposedly back is supposed to be hurt, but I believe that's all a ploy to make sure that he's healthy.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just made up.
I believe a guy that played 81 out of 82 games, he's training unless he tweaked it, working out. I think they're just trying to buy time, and Scott Brooks, the season's more important.
For sure.
The other reason why I like them, I love their pickup. I don't know how many guys are against this, but I like Austin Rivers. I think Austin Rivers is the guy that can play the 1 and 2 combo guard. If you notice, the Washington Wizards over the years have not had a solid bag up. They had Ty Lawson, I think, last year. The guy's name on the tip of my tongue. They've never had a legitimate guy that can come off and get them some good minutes. Kelly Oubre.
Okay. But you were trying to figure out who they had last year as a backup point guard?
I know Ty Lawson came in late.
Ty Lawson. And they had the guy that used to be in the D League. I can't even think of his name.
Ramon Sessions. They had Ramon Sessions, too, on the team. So now you think about that. I love the Jeff Green pickup.
Okay.
I think Jeff Green, by playing for the Cleveland Cavs last year and playing in that type of environment, the finals, I think he'll be a much better player. He'll be a great addition to them. I like that roster. I love the Morris brother. I love him as well. I just think they got the pieces, and we'll be saying this all year long about the Eastern Conference, and when we talk about teams. But the king is gone, baby.
So it's wide open.
Look, it's wide open when LeBron James is gone.
That's true.
He's ended the Washington Wizards playoffs runs a lot. He's dominated the conference, and he's gone. So when you think about LeBron James not being in the East, man, I mean, the doors are wide open. But that's the reason why I like Washington. I love their off-season pickups. I thought those pickups were huge. I like Dwight Howard coming off the season that he did. Dwight Howard will not have to do much with this team but catch lobs and defensive rebound. Every now and then you got to throw him a bone. But you don't have to feature him with this team. His role will change where I think he'll be effective at this point in his career, and that's rebounding and blocking shots. And then you got John Wall, who's coming into the season healthy for a change. Can he stay healthy is always the question mark.
He only played in 41 games last year.
But I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think John Wall does, and I remember the season being over with, and I followed John Wall on social media, and all he was posting was how hard he was working, getting his weight back down, getting that pressure off his knees. So I know he dedicated himself this summer to get in the best shape possible. So I'm expecting big things from him. And with that backcourt, Bradley Beal and him, 2 all-star backcourt, I don't know how you don't. I mean, obviously you got to put in the mix. I'm not going to lie. You do have to put the Toronto Raptors in the mix. And then, obviously Philly. We don't want to forget about Philly.
Yeah, I just feel like Wall and Beal have been together for, at least 5 years or so.
Otto Porter's one of the top 3-point shooters last year. They got some pieces. But you just feel like they maxed out?
That's the thing about Washington.
I feel like they never deliver, so to speak. I feel like other than the year when they had Paul Pierce on the club and they did some things then, I feel like, not that they fool's gold, but they just never, they never reached their potential. Not that they maxed out, but it's just something about it. In the playoffs, they haven't been able to put it together, and that's when it matters the most. They had a talent. They had some pieces. They had Gortat, to me, who was a double-double machine. They've had some players, but they just haven't been able to put it together, and I just don't know why this would be any different. That's all. I like John Wall, though. I'm a huge John Wall fan.
Well, when we make our predictions, and we know we'll have our prediction show. Yeah. We'll hold true to that, and we'll see who's right. So you got Washington. You'll have them at like a 6 or 7 seed.
Some maybe like a 6 or something. I think we could agree, and we're gonna get a prediction show. But certainly Toronto, Boston, and Philly. That's 3 right there. I think we should at least agree on that. So the highest Washington could be is 4. Can we at least agree on that? Toronto, Boston, Philly, some order. So the highest they could be is 4.
It depends. I'm not. When we have our show, we'll talk about it, but. I almost got Washington over Philly. I'm not sold on Philly yet. I'm not gonna be sold on Philly until I see Ben Simmons make a 3-point shot. And that's just me. Until Ben Simmons, if he didn't spend the summer, if preseason, which before our show, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to see a couple preseason games. And if I don't see him attempting 3-point shots, I know they can't get over the hump. Bro, the way they got him in the playoffs, the game changed. You're not going to just get to the line basket and just jump hook and get layups. They proved that already. So,
So it's time for him to grow.
So if he didn't grow as an offensive player this summer.
But he's just going to be a smarter player, though. Certainly you would like him to take a step forward. But we saw Jason Kidd in the beginning of his career, and Jason Kidd could not shoot the basketball in the beginning of his career.
I'm not saying he will not be able to shoot the basketball. I'm saying for them to make a deep run and to be one of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference, he would have to improve his jump shot. No matter how anybody looks at it, he has to improve his jump shot because he is your most valuable player. He's got the ball in his hands. He has to make people respect him. I'm not saying he has to shoot 40% from the 3, but you got to at least put an attempt up. They coming off the pick and roll. They going underneath. They going so far underneath. They going in the lane.
Because they know you.
It disrupts the play. You can't get the. It makes it tough for them to score. We watched them against the Celtics, and you remember that? I went on a limb. I went on national TV, like Philly gonna win.
Right.
I went on national TV and picked Philly. And I was embarrassed when I saw how the Boston played him defensively.
Yeah, that was his rookie season. So I'm going to assume that he improves a little bit from his rookie season.
You'll probably pick them third. You'll have them third in the East, and I'll have them fourth, and we'll see what the chips fall they make.
Just what we saw from Joel Embiid and what he brings to the table.
He's a guy that can win the MVP.
And then not to mention, I think you have to get something. I haven't given up on the number 1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz.
Oh, without question. I like that team.
He can't be any worse than he was last year. He can't be any worse. You got nothing from him last year. They didn't even play the man in the playoffs. A number 1 pick didn't even play in the playoffs.
They kept J.J. Redick.
No doubt.
Specialist, which I thought was smart.
You like specialists?
Yes. I love the fact they added Wilson Chandler. Proven score. They added Wilson Chandler, so I like that. And obviously Markelle Fultz, we're going to see what he does. We still got Rob Covington coming back, and those guys that play the intricate
Dario
part.
Saric, who can shoot the ball too.
They're loaded.
Yeah.
They're loaded. I'm not saying that. But
So I've seen them. Last year I saw them, and I feel like they a team that got a taste of what's possible. They a team that felt like they could have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, so that's something for them to build on. I've actually seen them early on, to me, feel like they had a chance to win, whereas Washington, I just don't know. Like Washington, it seemed like sometimes the lights are too bright for them. I feel like Philadelphia, that was their first time, and I expect them to take another step forward. And I honestly might just take their talent. When I look at different positions, but when I look at the 1-2 punch of Wall and Beal versus Simmons and Embiid, I like John, but I think I'm going to take Simmons and Embiid. When we just talk about duos, 1-2 punch, your top two guys, who's going to lead the way?
yeah, and they got the confidence and the swag. You know, they trust the process. They got the confidence and the swag. So that's no question. I mean, they're one of the better twosomes in the league. That's no question. They're in the top 5 in twosomes.
Well, let's flip over then to the Western Conference and the Houston Rockets, because we talked about them so much, won the 65 games, had the number 1 seed. I believe their window might be closed. That might have been a chance for them. If they don't get it done this year, I certainly think Chris Paul's body is going to break down, and that big 4-year contract they gave him. It seemed like last year when he couldn't finish the season when it mattered most. But we know that they added Carmelo Anthony. We know that they added Michael Carter-Williams. We know that they also added James Ennis. Although they lost Luke Mbah-a-Moute and they lost to Trevor Ariza. Mike D'Antoni didn't have much to say in terms of Carmelo starting. And I know Carmelo wasn't as vocal this time around with the media days as it pertains to starting. I think you've gone on record saying Carmelo should come off the bench. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Just, is that your position? He should come off the bench?
I think with this team, I think he would benefit more offensively if he still wants to have a definite role at scoring 15, 20 points a night. I think he could do it better off the bench where he can get featured, because obviously Harden and Chris Paul are so ball dominant in your starting lineup. I think he would do better in the second unit. I actually said Carmelo Anthony would start if he went to Houston.
Okay.
I think they're going to go with Clint Capella, P.J. Tucker, Melo, Chris Paul, and Harden.
Okay.
I think for the betterment of the team and to put a balance on the team, I think Melo should come off the bench.
Okay.
But
and
I
then
think
who would you probably start then?
probably start Jeff Ennis.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not a big fan of his, but he is a role guy. He is
James Ennis.
James Ennis.
Yep.
He is a role guy. He is a hustler. You know, a dirty work guy. So I do like him in that sense. You can't have all superstars when you're on the floor with Harden and Chris Paul. So I do like that. P.J. Tucker, we know, is going to be a dirty work guy.
Yep.
Clint Capella is going to be, do what he does, block shots, finish around the basket. So I think that's a good unit. Then you come off the bench with a Gerald Green, a Carmelo Anthony, a Michael Carter-Williams. Kind of gives you a little bit more balance.
Oh, you ain't even mentioned Eric Gordon, who always give you buckets off the bench.
6 man.
Yeah.
That's where it gets a little tricky when you don't know if you want to, because they feature Eric Gordon so much in that second unit.
Right.
That's where it gets a little tricky. Maybe you start Melo. Being that, you got to always remember that Chris Paul and James Harden are high assist guys.
Okay.
And Melo is a 3-point. Melo's a jump shooter now. So Melo is a guy that can get in a position where, if that's where his shots are going to come from, I don't mind Melo shooting corner threes. I think he could be one of the better 3-point shooters in the league if you put him in a situation like that. I don't like him. I don't like the bounce and handle shot no more from him. I mean, I used to love it. But
Creating for himself?
Yeah, I don't like that for him anymore because he's not athletic enough. He doesn't get to the basket, doesn't get to the foul line. The great thing about Melo in his best years, if you ever follow Melo, was his ability to get to the free throw line 10, 11 times a game.
Yep.
Obviously, early in his career, he had a tremendous first step, probably one of the quickest first steps. But I think he's a catch-and-shoot type of guy now. So I like him playing and starting with James Harden and Chris Paul.
Let me say
my biggest thing with Houston is that, when you lose Trevor Ariza and you lose defensive-minded guys that they lost at the wing spot, I think that's a huge void to fill. We all know James Harden is not a great defensive player. We know they've always talked about he's tried to make a consistent effort to be better. That's here and there if you believe that. But that's putting a lot of pressure now on Clint Capella. to deliver in that center spot. We know P.J. Tucker is going to be tough defensively. He can guard. Chris Paul has always been a great defensive player from the point guard position. So they've got a couple of different pieces, and we know Melo can't guard a locked door. You know what I'm saying? So we put him in that category. So they lost a lot defensively. One thing that was great about Houston last year, besides their three-point shooting and James Harden and Chris Paul playing terrific last year, they defended. They were one of the few teams that were able to do what Golden State does, and that's switch, and guys sit down and guard their man, and that's what they had last year. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get that same defensive mentality back. We know they're going to be able to score the basketball. We know they're going to score 110, 115 points a night. But can they defend at the level that they defended at last year? Will be interesting to see. I think with the addition of DeMarcus Cousins, the lust has been kind of lost, like, of that matchup, Houston versus Golden State.
Because they know they can't win.
You know, I'm looking more intriguing to see if a Boston, a finals matchup with the Celtics, be a little bit better matchup. I don't really particularly like anybody in the West right now.
Okay, like you think the Golden State Warriors should just run through the West almost.
Yeah, it just kind of lost it a
Okay.
little bit. If Golden State stays healthy and DeMarcus Cousins comes back at 80% of who he is, it's gonna be hard to beat them.
But before we go there, I read some talks about maybe having a 3-guard starting lineup, because certainly we know the Rockets love to shoot threes, and offense is their calling card. They play very good on defense too. I think a lot of people, I think their defense was overshadowed by their offense. But what do you think about just making their offense that much more dynamic by starting an Eric Gordon along with Paul and a James Harden? What do you think about that 3-guard starting lineup? Gordon, Paul, and Harden. I've seen that tossed around like D'Antoni might consider that.
I don't like that. I think because then now you're basically basing the game on the offensive end.
Okay.
And we're going to come out and outscore everybody. And I think if you got any aspirations of winning the championship, you're going to have to balance it out a little bit. So I don't like that lineup. I like Eric Gordon in 6-man. I think that's the way he's at his best at.
Okay.
I mean, I know last year, he had to. I know there's been times in his career where he's had to start.
For sure.
But I like him in that 6-man role. I think he's one of the elite 6-man to ever play the game. If not the best 6-man to ever play the game. When you think about him and Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams, those guys are specialists. There's only a few guys in this league that have played in this game that have been able to come off the bench and be spark plugs like that to give you 20 to 30 at any point in time. I don't think you take that away. I think that's something as a Houston Rocket you keep as a weapon, to have a guy like that can come in and score in value and value. It's just hard to find that in this league. So I wouldn't do that.
How about we stay with the Warriors, because you mentioned the Golden State Warriors. We talked about the Lakers a little bit. I don't feel it's any pressure on the Lakers because many people don't expect them to get to the Western Conference Finals or what have you. I do think it's a lot of pressure on Boston. Is there pressure on Golden State when you've won 3 titles in 4 years? Is there pressure anymore because you've already kind of made your mark? I think you can already kind of put them in a dynasty category. They've had a sensational run. So although they still have the best team on paper, is there pressure for Golden State this year to keep it going when you already got 3 rings?
I think for Golden State, the offseason is going to be more important than actually the season. I think obviously if they're healthy, they get back to the finals. And then you add a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, they're going to be very difficult to beat. Can they get beat in the finals? I mean, I'm not going to speak on that. If the right team get there with them, it could be interesting. But
is there pressure on them?
I think the pressure is, it's no pressure. I think they won a few. I think the pressure's in the offseason. Can they keep
next summer?
Can they keep the band?
Can they keep play?
No. Can they keep this thing together for another 3 to 4 years? It's not just Clay.
Right.
Kevin Durant's a free agent. DeMarcus Cousins will be free.
Oh, but they're not keeping DeMarcus though. They not. That's a wrap. I don't even think they expect to keep him because when you look at the numbers, the most they can offer that man is like $6 million per year. That's the most they can offer him in the off season.
Depends on how valuable you believe it's to your team. If Klay Thompson decides to go somewhere else the first day of free agency, it becomes totally different.
Max money just
So I'm just saying, and then
But you would like to keep Klay over DeMarcus though.
it may not be their fault. What if Klay want to go? It depends. I'm just saying. What if Durant leaves? I mean, I'm not sold Durant staying.
Well, during media day, they asked Klay straight up, and on media day, Klay said, "I'm not leaving."
Right.
That was the quote. That was the quote from Klay on media day. On KD now, KD didn't give any guarantees. KD said, "I'm gonna take it year by year and keep my options open." So to your point, Durant wasn't adamant that he's staying. Klay was like, "Hey man, look at what we got going." Klay said, "Players in free agency try to find a team like the Warriors have, where you have the camaraderie and you have the chemistry and you have the banners." So at least in front of the media, Klay said all the right things. KD, on the other hand, who knows? So I see what you're saying. Can they keep this thing together? But even if you lose Kevin, we know they were still a championship team before Kevin got there. So as long as you can keep Draymond, Klay, and Steph, I think you're good. But in 2 years, then Draymond gonna want another deal as well. And go ahead.
I do see what Antoine is talking about now that you say that, because at the end of the year, that's if let's say KD does leave.
Okay.
That's when the pressure does mount back on them. Can they do it without him? Can they do it again? I would feel like that's when the pressure would come, because this season the only pressure they will have will probably come in the finals.
Okay.
If they lose a couple of games.
So this year is really just, what's the word? Nothing to lose a little bit.
Yeah, house money.
Well,
House money. That's it. This house money.
This is the thing about all this stuff, and you get. It's funny. They can get greedy, and sit around and be with each other like, man, let's do this for the next 5-6 years.
Right.
They can say that to each other and get greedy. Or they can get in this generation, which as a competitor, as a basketball player, you would think that would hopefully be the conversation. But I doubt it. You know what I mean? Like, my thing is this. Some things are just like, to me, no-brainers. Like, I love what Klay Thompson said. And then I hate what Kevin Durant said.
Right.
Because you can make the most money, Supermax now, this summer coming up with your team. You're a 2-time NBA Finals. You playing for championships. Why would I want to go somewhere else? I mean, I don't understand it. What do you gain when you say, "Oh, I'm gonna just take it year by year, leave my options open"?
Your own legacy. I mean, you've discussed that. Like, KD would need to get away and win one away from the Warriors to establish himself as one of the best.
I hate to say this because it's not necessarily true, but what KD done in Golden State, he's never going to get that max credit for it.
Right. So I think you were saying, why leave?
But he might as well stay there and finish it out. There's nothing else he can do in his career. You already sold out. You sold out and went to play with the best team. There's nothing wrong with that.
But he can go to another team with not so many Hall of Famers.
He can't win by himself.
He could also tarnish his legacy like that.
He can't win by himself.
Once you had 2 rings, 2 finals MVP.
Kevin Durant cannot win by himself. He cannot win with being the #1 superstar on a team.
If he leaves,
Kevin Durant cannot win by being the #1 superstar on the team. Kevin Durant could not have done what LeBron James did last year. Period. Could not have done it. Kevin Durant is one of the best offensive scoring people we've ever seen at his size. 6'11", he can score from anywhere on the floor. He's one of the, if not the best offensive talent we've seen. You put him in that conversation with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant as being one of the best scorers in the league. And he's a killer. He'll make a big shot. But you put him by himself, he cannot do what LeBron James did.
So he's a front runner, in other words.
No, he's not a front runner. He has to play with other good players. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Clement, you don't feel like that would tarnish?
He just left a situation where he was the #1 guy.
Sure.
He just left it, and he was playing with arguably another top 5 guy, and couldn't get it done.
Got one MVP.
I think Kevin Durant still cares what people think. I think Kevin
question.
Durant understands the narrative, and I feel like if they win again or maybe even if they don't win again, I think KD still will want to silence critics such as yourself. He will want to prove people wrong, such as yourself, that feel like he can't do it when he's the lead guy and not as much help. Nobody can win by themselves. When the Warriors won their first title, it was still Steph, Draymond, and Clay. So he can't win by himself. But I think Kevin Durant still probably want to go somewhere and show, you know what, when it's more pressure on him and when he has to carry a lot more of the load with some other good players, that he can take a team to the finals.
So if he leaves and never makes it to the conference finals again, how do you view Kevin Durant?
Well, if they win this year and he leaves and he has 3 titles, I mean, you forever be considered
a monster.
Yeah, but you forever be considered a great player though.
Yeah.
When you look back at it in history, no matter what happens, if we stop where they are right now, and you got 2 finals MVPs and 2 titles and a scoring title, he still be considered a great player.
I would like, as I'm talking about this, if you can do a little research for me. But I don't think no superstar has ever left after winning a title. I don't think he can leave.
You mean immediately?
What?
Because certainly,
No,
like
no,
LeBron,
no,
LeBron won 2 and left.
No. I'm talking about after winning. Let's say, so you're telling me if Golden State wins it all this year, it's a chance that Kevin Durant leaves.
I believe that is the case. Yes, I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
He will be the worst hated athlete ever.
To win a title in the
and you got to think about it. He will make the supermax with Golden State. So he's going to get his money, and you just won an NBA title. It's no way you can leave. How can you leave?
I mean, that would make him pretty hated.
He can't leave. And I'm not mistaken. A superstar has never left their team after winning a title.
LeBron left after San Antonio won that last time.
LeBron left after they lost,
right.
And he left this time after he lost in the finals. Yeah. He never left when they won. You know that. Listen, Kevin Durant is a unbelievable talent. I'm not going to take that away from him. As an ex-player and as in a competitive state, he did not make a competitive basketball decision. He made a decision to go play with the best. He didn't want to put the work and the effort that's needed to beat the Golden State Warriors. He was right there. He's up 3-1. I mean, in the competitive state in basketball, you want to go. You want to see if you can get over that hump. He's not that guy. We get it. We understand it. I think it's crazy that we're talking about that he may leave. I think it's crazy that they talk about he may go join LeBron James in L.A. I just think all those things are crazy. But at the same time, this is a new generation of players, different mentality. I'm not sure where this comes from, but these guys are different. These guys like hanging out with each other. They like to kick it in the club and party and whatever. And I guess who take the trips and whatever. We cool. You know what I mean? I come from the era where, you know what, we see each other in the summertime 2-3 times. We get up with each other. But when the season on, I'm trying to beat you, you're trying to beat me. That's different. And the crazy part about all these things is that now you can make the money. Back in the day, you couldn't make the money. Now you can make the money. That's the crazy part about all this now.
Like just big time though.
You can make the money to be in your own team. You can make your money, and now the stuff. Now these guys want to go play each other. They taking pay cuts to go play with each other.
Finally get the money and take it.
I'm leaving. You know, Kawhi Leonard, you leave $220 on the table.
He wanted to go to a place where
I want to be at home, so give me a home cooked meal. You know what I mean? I just want to be at home with my friends so we can hang out, play pool. I'm gonna leave $220 on the table to get to the crib. That's
because you still get so much. Like you don't have to get the max. You can still turn down.
Yeah, because now you can go get. You know what, man? I'm straight. What's what me and you argued about?
Right.
I guess I just gotta get this 180, get the 220. You know what I mean?
Still be good.
I'll still be good. Man, boy, I'm coming to the crib. I'm gonna leave that 220. Just like I told you, Clement. Man, I'm coming home and play with you. I'm gonna leave 40, 50 on the table.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come on back with you.
So we can team
up.
So
we can play some pool and play the video game together. And go to dinner on the road. I mean, keep it real. I mean, what is it? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
I need that for
I'm like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler probably like, man, I mean, look, man. What you want to do, Kyrie? You want to go to New York? All right, that's what we're going to do.
Speaking of New York, though.
I'm going to axe out. You got 1 year left. I'm going to axe out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get out now.
Period.
Yeah, go set us up. I'm going to go set up the cribs, the good restaurants. I'm going to set it up.
But they haven't been talking about that. New York. KD to New York with Porzingis and then maybe Butler or Irving.
You know, the thing I like, you know what I mean, even though everybody questioned LeBron move when he went to go play with
D-Wade.
D-Wade and Chris Bosh. But at least at their press conference, they was like, man, we finna win not 1 title, not 2, not 3. But at least they going in with the right mentality. You know what I mean? These other guys like, man, I just want to play with my homies.
Backtrack for a minute, though, because we started talking about DeMarcus Cousins a little bit, and depending on how things play out, you think there is a chance that Cousins could be in Golden State longer than a year?
Yeah, I just think with free agency coming up, Draymond Green has, this year he had 1 more year. I don't know. We don't know how DeMarcus Cousins is going to come off this injury. We're thinking that he's going to come back 100% and be the top 10 guy that we've seen before. It's not no guarantee. I think it's a 2-year injury for a guy of his size. I think he would have to lose 25, 30 pounds just to get that quickness back. And God knows he wasn't that quick prior to that. But to get back to where he was at, it's gonna be a while. So I think even when he comes back for Golden State, let's be realistic. You're playing with 4 other All-Stars. He's gonna look good.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be hard pressed for him to look bad. I think it'll be based on how if he got his ability back. I think with him it's all about health. I think teams are going to be reluctant to give him a max deal. So it may be a situation where he may play for the 40s and $50 million. That might be more. We're thinking the $100 million guy.
He would have to, if he's a solid player. I feel like there will be a couple of teams. There will be a much bigger market, and he would have to take a huge pay cut. I know we just talking about turning down money, but what I read in terms of what the Warriors would be able to offer versus other teams.
See, just the thing, I still believe in. I mean, you heard Klay Thompson's press conference about he's going to stay there, and I'm pretty sure they offered the max. I thought Klay may, because in this right now and what Golden State has going on, Klay Thompson is kind of the lost man right now. So I thought maybe Klay may want to go get his own identity, his own legacy, with another team. But if Klay stays there, I mean, obviously DeMarcus Cousins is the odd man out. Nobody knows what Durant's going to do. I mean, Durant's looking at $200 million. I think it's like $220. The supermax is for Durant next year. So when you put those things in perspective, I mean, yeah, he's going to be the odd man out money-wise. But I just think DeMarcus Cousins is going to play good, obviously, with that team. He'll fit in very well. His passing ability, basketball ability. The biggest thing for DeMarcus Cousins is to get back to 100% where he's injury-free. If I'm DeMarcus Cousins, I may not come back to March. You know what I mean? I may make sure this thing right. I'm making peanuts. I didn't get the contract I got. This team brought me in. I ain't got to play nothing but the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a year for me. Right. I'm on a roster, still making $5 million. I got a chance to get me a title, put something on the mantle. You know what I'm saying? Put something in the safe.
Right. Never even been to the playoffs. So I got a chance to get a ring.
Yeah, get that little playoff feel. I'll come back in March.
Yeah, I certainly think he comes back before that, though. I see what you're saying.
He's going to come back before that.
I see what you're saying, but
it's like anything.
Be cautious, though. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, be cautious.
But they say he's going to be reevaluated in about 4 weeks. They say that he's already participating in non-contact drills. Can't go full speed yet, but participate in non-contact drills. So I still think around maybe Christmas time or December or something like that, we're going to start to see DeMarcus Cousins.
I think he's going to start itching.
You seen the workout videos though?
His
leg look dead.
Yeah, it's still bad.
Yeah. He got a few months though. He's a few months away, but I think he wants to come back sooner rather than later. I see what you're saying about being cautious, but when you around a team like the Warriors,
you want to get on.
Yeah, and you out, they winning, having fun. You want to contribute. You want to get in the mix. At the end of the day, he's still a basketball player. That's still who he is. He's still a competitor. You still love the game.
Absolutely.
So as much as you want to be smart about it, and as much as you want to take your time, you want to get out there and hoop. That's what you do. And you also want to rub it into the other teams, whether you call it putting the middle finger up to the Pelicans or, you know what I mean, send a message to the rest of the teams in the league. To take your time coming back, that doesn't give you the same satisfaction as being healthy, getting out there and balling and showing other teams what they missed out on. You know what I mean?
That's the same mistake Kevin Garnett made after his ACL injury, though. Now, I'm a firm believer that Boston lost at least one more title with that decision.
Trying to come back too soon.
Came back too soon, and you saw it immediately. First game, like, oh, it's not there, and now you got to sit out even longer, and you're never the same.
That's fair.
He was never the same athletically after that. His whole game changed. His demeanor on the court, as far as offensively, changed.
Well, I would say this, and I'm going to repeat it one more time. And if DeMarcus Cousins, if you listen, this is a selfish year. You have to make this year selfish. You've done the right thing. You put yourself on a playoff team, a championship team, to do something you never did before, playing some meaningful games. But make sure you're able and healthy to be able to enjoy that moment. And I think, it's a tough injury. I know you have good days working out, and you feel like you back. But it's an injury. Get yourself to at least All-Star break. I mean, do that to yourself. Do that for yourself. At least to All-Star break. Give yourself a legitimate chance of coming back and being healthy. And we see so many guys do things in this league for the organizations and don't do things selfishly and take care of themselves. So this would be one moment that you actually take care of yourself and make sure you come back healthy. But it'll be interesting to see how Golden State how things go for Golden State next year. More so this year. I mean, it's still low. You still got Andre Iguodala.
Oh yeah.
They still got Sean Livingston. Quinn Cook played well for them last year when Steph was hurt. I mean, they're still loaded. You still got Jordan Bell, Looney, guys that know how to play significant minutes on that team with the Big Four. I mean, they're going to be very difficult to beat. It's just a matter of how much emphasis and how serious and how dedicated they can be for the season, and whether or not they want to win 65.
Yeah, I don't even think they even, the regular season, does that mean something to them? Let me ask you this, since we were here. Is this season more important for DeMarcus Cousins, or is this season more important for Isaiah Thomas? Two guys who have something to prove, on count of a one-year deal, and are in a situation where they're trying to get paid.
That's actually a great question. And I believe this season is more important for DeMarcus Cousins, who has a legitimate future as far as being a max guy, a guy that teams build around. I don't think, he's a guy that you can be the number one star, but I think he can definitely be a number two star on a team and build around, him and another guy. I think for Isaiah Thomas, unfortunately, and I hate to say this because I feel so bad for him the way he got handled in Boston, that payday is never coming. I don't think it's no team in the league from top to bottom that's going to bring him in and he's going to be their starting point guard. I think those days are over. I think he would definitely play in the league for the next 4 or 5 years. He's young enough, if healthy. If his hip holds up, I think it would always be a team that likes him and would always pick him up for off-the-bench production because of his scoring ability. Let's not forget, Clement, that he is a liability on the defensive end with his size, and teams have taken a lot of advantage. Has taken advantage of that. He has a hip injury that nobody knows what type of injury this is. It's just you never know when it could go out. So I don't think no team would invest in him and make him the starting point guard of their team. So I think it's done for him. I think we're going to see him in roles. I think he's a minimum guy. And it's unfortunate because I think he's kind of in the same situation as Derrick Rose. I don't think nobody's going to hand the ball over to Derrick Rose again either when he runs the NBA team. I think he will always be a bag-up the rest of the way. Do I believe he still could be a starting point guard? Yes. And that's me being selfish and being from Chicago, but I saw him do it 2 years ago in New York. And so I know he's still capable of doing it, and I know he's healthy. But Isaiah Thomas, the question marks are still out. We don't know if he's healthy. He had surgery at the end of last season.
Yeah, no, he hoping to prove that in Denver, right?
And-
That he's good now.
I know we consider that because we know he had $100 million on the table for him, and he didn't get it. But I think those days are over with. Now, is it another small, nice deal out there if he fits in? Say if he fits in well with Denver and they make a decent playoff run, I can see a 3-year, $18 million deal.
Ooh, wee. 3
You know, maybe,
You talking about that man getting 100?
maybe 4 for 20, make it 5.
Ooh, wee.
But I got him at $3 to $5 million the rest of the way out.
And that's probably on the high side.
That's on the high
That's
side.
being optimistic.
He signed 1 for $2 million this year.
Oh my.
Now,
Oh my.
if he comes back this year and the hip is still a problem, is this his last year in the NBA?
Possibly.
I think that's a tough call right there, though. I think Isaiah knows this is so important, so he has to be healthy, and I think that's why he made sure that he just cut his Lakers season short to have a surgery to make sure that he was going to take care of.
Yeah, he was thinking about his future.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with
Right.
that.
So I think he has had to put in extra work, knowing what you said. He's got to be healthy.
Right.
The hip has to be right. So it's hard for me to even go into that hypothetical. Is he done if his hip is not right? Because I have to believe that he is making sure that his hip is right.
Well, I hope. But, wanting to be healthy and knowing you need to be healthy are two totally different things.
And the thing I think about, too, and I always look at guys' situations. And I think we don't really talk about that a lot. And I forget to even talk about that. But it's not necessarily the Denver Nuggets a great situation for him.
I know they got playmakers.
They got guys that, he's going to have to fight for minutes.
No doubt.
In a situation. So I think he jumped at the deal, and which you're supposed to. I think it was one team that was willing to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I got to go. He couldn't afford to wait. But it wasn't the best and ideal situation for him. I think it's some other situations out there. You look at Derrick Rose, that was the best ideal situation for Derrick.
Yeah.
Derrick could eventually beat out of Jeff Teague for that starting job if he's able to score the basketball, and he's with a favorable coach, a coach that really likes him,
that knows what
that
he's
knows him
capable
too.
of.
So you know what I'm saying. So it's about situations too. That's why I said I love DeMarcus Cousins' situation, because if you really look at it, no pressure on him to come back. If he'd have went to any other team, the medical staff may have rushed this process. Golden State is going to take their time with him. They're going to give him an opportunity to take care of himself, get healthy, and then come back. And also, he still was able to make him $5 million. He could have easily had to sit the season out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now he gets a chance to make him 5 and do something that we all would want to do in the NBA. Have a chance to win the NBA title.
Let me hit this cosign or decline. I do want to get this in before our show comes to a close. You know what it is. I make a statement if you agree, cosign, if not decline. Didn't talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers much, but we know somebody is going to have to add in those 25, 26 points per game that LeBron left. So cosign or decline, Kevin Love will go back to the Minnesota days, and we'll see him putting up 25 and 14 or 26 and 13.
Cosign. I believe he is. I believe Kevin Love is a bona fide 20 and 10 guy. Very skilled big man who can shoot the three. I think T. Lue is going to build the offense around him where he'll get more touches. He won't just get those 3-4 touches in the beginning of the game where we see him be. I think one thing that he will struggle with, but Colin Sexton will make up for that a little bit. Obviously, he's not a LeBron James, but he is a fast point guard that plays with good pace, good tempo, be able to get him some wide open threes. I think those two in the pick and roll will be good. It will take some time. I don't think it'll happen right away, but he can be one of those elite point guards. And when we do our prediction show, we get an opportunity to talk about the rookies in the league and who we think will be rookie of the year. He'll be one of my guys that I throw out there that I really like. But I think Kevin Love will be a guy that averages 20 and 10. 25 and 16. That's maybe a little far.
He's not as young as he used to be.
But I see 20 and 10.
Okay, certainly he had some times in Minnesota, 26, 12 and a half, 26, 13, 20 and 15.
I definitely believe he'll be back.
Cosign or decline, one of the Lakers' one-year players will be a problem, will be a distraction, whether it's Beasley, whether it's Lance, maybe it's JaVale, but one of those guys at some point this season will be a problem. Cosign or decline?
Cosign. I believe one of them will be a problem. I don't know which one. And the reason why is I believe one of them will be a problem because the expectations go up, and I know we talked about it earlier in the show. LeBron James is about patience, and the expectations of the team is not to win a championship. But I believe when you're playing with a guy like LeBron James, where they're building towards a championship level team, you still got guys on one-year deals, and I know they wanted to keep the cap space free, but it's tough because those guys are playing for their contract lives, and besides Rondo, who I think a guy who'll be fine, who's played in those roles before one-year deals. But JaVale McGee's been on one-year deals for the last 4 years, I think. These guys want some money. They want a big payday. So that you got to think about that. We know Lance Stevenson could be a loose cannon. You never know. We've yet to see anybody control him. We saw him play. We saw Bird have him under decent control.
In Indiana, yeah.
It's interesting. It's funny how a guy that took pride in guarding you, that challenged you throughout the playoffs in a couple playoff series, is he going to be willing to listen to LeBron? I'm not saying he don't have no respect for LeBron.
But I don't know if he willing to listen to anybody. Like he just, he in his own world does his own thing.
Everybody can't play in La La Land. Everybody can't play in front of Jack Nicholson. Everybody can't play in front of Denzel Washington. Everybody can't play in front of those guys. You got to think LeBron James in town now. Those first three rows finna be crazy. Yeah. Those first three rows finna be crazy.
Yeah,
Can Lance Stevenson handle that now?
Yeah.
Can you handle Hollywood?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
And not get caught up in it. And focus on the task at hand.
You with LeBron James now. When you got off the plane, man, you got 200 fans waiting in front of the hotel. Can you handle that?
200 fans, and how many of them might be of the female persuasion?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? His status just elevated when you rock out with LeBron in LA.
Hey, can you handle that, though? Yeah. Can you handle that? I played with Shaq and D-Wade.
Honestly.
You know what I mean?
You always felt you was 6'9", cute in the face.
Oh, yeah. No question.
Right.
It really was a benefit for Shaq and D-Wade.
Oh, no!
You really want to know the truth when it comes to the ladies now. Hey, listen. Now, I'm going to just look. Now, listen. It was Shaq and D-Wade on the court. It was employee number 8 off the court. Now, let's get this done. Hey, before we get off the air, let's not get this twisted now. It was Shaq and D-Wade on the court. But it was employee number 8 off the court.
It's Wade County. Miami is this
No.
spot. What are you talking about, bro?
Wade County, Mr. South Beach. Yeah, that's a difference now.
What?
Check that.
Hey,
I'm gonna put that on social media.
Mr. South Beach.
You gotta get D-Wade and Shaq. We gotta get some verification
I hope
on
D-Wade weighs in on that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're portraying an accurate picture.
Listen,
I'm not sure if this is.
It was Shaq and D-Wade on the court.
Okay.
It was employee number 8 off the court. Don't get this thing twisted, fellas.
Well, I could kind of believe that, though.
I can't.
I've been to one,
I can't.
I've been to one of Antoine's birthday parties.
Excuse me?
I can't. I'm not saying you don't get it in. I'm not saying you don't get it in. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you don't get it in.
When you put it out there, they'll clarify.
Okay. I'm not saying you don't get it in.
That's
not what I'm saying.
I get it in.
But I'm saying you saying they take a back seat to how you get it in the court. Especially D-Wade in Miami.
Yes. Shaq and D-Wade on the court. Employee number 8 off the court. You heard it here first. Southside, he stepped.
I'll let you have your moment, bro. Hey, one more. We got cosign or decline. We'll see an NBA player drop 70 this season. Devin Booker style.
Decline.
Okay.
I'm going to decline.
No 7.
It was tough for me. But I would decline. Because you got so many teams that are now shooting the three, open, playing this fast-paced basketball, you kind of think it could happen. But no, I don't think so. I think, obviously with Durant, you got so many scores in that team, he'd probably get cut off at 40, maybe a 50-point night. LeBron, I don't think he got in the tank to go for 70. We saw Devin Booker do it. He's a guy that can do it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Before we get out of here, do want to mention we got a special event coming up in December. we certainly will have many more details. We will be taking part of the Chicago Podcast Festival. We will be putting information about that on social media. You can come and check us out live. That's going to be Sunday, December 2nd, 7:30 at the Chicago Theater Works. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Something we're excited about, something we're looking forward to. Much more information on that to come. That does it for another episode of the Southside Heat. We'll be back with you next week right here.
We're clear.